Hey guys, today in SAO Integral Factor, we are going to do a skill build and guide against Pholus, the floor 14 boss. So this has been a topic that's been requested by some people, but I really don't like this boss because of the characteristic that this boss has and how my trust weapon is really not my strongest weapon. But we're going to do the guide this time to answer those inquiries that people has been asking me. So we'll start with looking at this characteristic that the boss has. So if you enter the boss room in the beginning, you will see that barrier there that the boss has. It has a 9 stacks of barriers. And it will reduce the amount of damage that we do to this enemy. And as you can see there, my skill attack is only doing around 5,000 damage. And my normal attack is only doing around 400 damage there. So we can reduce the effectiveness of this boss's barrier by destroying this crystal that we can see on each of the corner of the map. And as you can see there, the barrier now it's only 8 stack instead of 9 stack. And my normal attack is already doing a little bit more damage. So we'll go ahead and destroy these 4 crystals that appears on the map, and we'll see how much damage is it going to be increasing after we destroy all 4 crystals that we can see on the map right now. Okay, so now we got all the 4 crystals destroyed, and now if I do a skill attack, it's doing 36,000. I know that it's hitting critical, but yeah, the normal skill damage is hitting around 27,000, and now that skill is doing 24,000. So that's 20,000 increase, and my normal attack is doing around 2,000 non-critical. Yeah, so that's already a big increase on the amount of damage that we can do by just destroying those 4 crystals in there. And the boss still have 5 stacks of the barrier there. And after around 1 minute after we destroy the crystal will regenerate. So we can destroy it again to again reduce the amount of barriers that the enemy has. So as you can see there on the map, now you can see that the 4 crystal is regenerating. And if we destroy all of them, the enemy will be left with just 1 stack of the barriers there. And as you can see there, now my skill damage is doing 44,000 damage, and yeah, that other one is doing 49,000 damage. So from what I've calculated, it looks like each stack there is reducing our damage by 10%. So it's important to reduce that stacks so that we can deal a good amount of damage to beat the boss fast enough. There are a few skills in the games that will be able to reduce the stacks on this enemy, the boss enemy. So like this one right here that is on the rapier weapons, and this one right here that is on the spear weapon. So both has the same effect. They will reduce the number of the stack buff on the enemy, which works on this enemy. There should be another one for bow weapon, but I don't remember what's the name of the skills. Those skills will be very useful against this boss. Now there's some occasions where the boss will not notice us when we first get into the dungeons, and in that case, as you can see in the damage that I do there, I can do full damage because the boss has not put up the barrier. It doesn't always happen. Most of the time the boss will notice us entering the dungeons and already put up the barrier, but if we get into that situations, we can just use the strongest attack against this boss to inflict the maximum damage before the barrier is up. Okay, so now let's get into the strategy that I use against this boss. I don't have any of the skills that reduces the number of stacks on the enemy, so what I usually do is that I will use a mace skills and then first destroy all of the 4 crystals as soon as I enter the dungeons, and that will reduce the number of the enemy stack there. But also, if you notice that the crystal there also have a weakness, different weakness against the different elements. So I use skills that have different elements so that I can hit the crystal in one hit, and after we get it destroy, and I'll use my awakening skills and hit the boss as hard as I can to deal the maximum damage that we can do into this boss. And the weapon of choice that I use in here is a rapier right now, because that's one of these weapon that I have the strongest thrust skill. And as you can see, after the rush is ended, most likely one of the crystals that you destroyed earlier will already spawn up. But if the enemy is already on a low HP, like as you can see in this scenario here, I will just go ahead and keep attacking the enemy until the boss is defeated. But otherwise, we can just do another rotations and destroy all the 4 crystals again, and then strike the enemy again. So that's pretty much what I do, and I will show you what skills do I use against this boss. So the first skills here is this Asuna skill that is an awakening skills, and it has a very nice effect that it will give 10% chance to give a debuff that can inflict 2.5 damage on the next attack, and then also it has a chance to give a critical rate, which is very high, like 44%, and also give an additional damage of 900 for 75% chance. And this chances is going to be tripled if we use it on switch. So it's very important to use this one on the skills on switch. And the second skills that I use here is going to give me critical damage increase by 26% for 8 seconds. It's not long, but I think it's good enough. And then we have the striking Asuna that gives 23% damage increase against the enemy that weak to trust, and we know that the enemy is weak to trust. And then we have this violet skills here that I don't actually really use. I just use this for the effect on my passive skills, because even though it's the enemy weakness, which is the holy elements there, it doesn't deal as much damage as my other skills. And going to the passive, these are the 4 passive skills that I use. And this first one here is the Alice that will give 800 attack, and if I use any of the Persona 5 skills, it will give an additional attack increase there, and that's why I use the violet skills. And this Yuki skill that will add an element of holy elements on my normal attack, and the enemy is weak to holy, so this is a very good skills to use against this kind of enemy. And then we have this lovely Wink Asuna that gives around 23% damage and 3.64 attack against enemy that weak to trust, even against another very good skills against the trust weak enemy. And last but not least is this Kirito skill that will give me 40% critical rate, and since it's like a 35% critical rate, and since I have a lot of Asuna skills on my rapier sets, it doesn't give me a deductions on the second effect there. And the second sets, I have a mace skills that have a different variety of elements there, so that I can use it against the crystals effectively. So the goal is to destroy a crystal in one hit, so that I can move on and attack the boss quickly after that. So that's it for the guide. If you find this guide useful, please don't forget to leave a like and share this guide, and subscribe to my channel if you have not done so. And I will see you on the next SAO Integral Factor content. Bye now.